the world.
Excellent. Thank
Look,
you.
when you get a pinky in the brain reference, and I don't even know if it started off with it, but guys, we just simultaneously pulled off a plan to take over the world, pinky in the brain reference, and it's going to be a good day. It is 5 o'clock. It's Monday after hours. Let's get ready for After Hours Real Estate, guys. Chris Pesek, Pesek Property and the Dripping Springs home team here. I am a realtor in Central Texas, and my buddy, Stevie Ray Babcock, hit it.
There we go. Forgot to start with that. So
That was good. Dude, I mean, it just like played in perfectly.
for the first
Steven
time
is exactly. Steven's a mortgage originator. Did I got it right this time?
You know what? That's good. I like mortgage originator. You throw residential in there. It's all good. It's all good.
At CMG Financial here in Austin, Texas. And guys, what we do on Mondays is we get together. We drink a little beer or whiskey or stuff, and we talk about real estate and we talk about mortgages. And I've got an itchy ear.
So that's okay. Hey, so I was thinking of a couple names. Can I run them by you?
For what?
There's one girl.
I've got an empty glass.
These glasses and a face, and she calls herself the mortgage nerd, right? And it's like her branding is the mortgage nerd. So I used AI, little chat GPT, to come up with a list of possible names. And I even had them go Harry Potter themed for the second list. So for the first one,
you don't strike me as a big Harry Potter guy.
I like fantasy stuff. I do.
Okay.
And so the first name was the Lone Ranger. Yeah. Unfortunately, somebody here is the Lone Ranger, like mortgages or something. So
can I
step on toes? But that's a really good name.
Can I be Tonto? I'd like to be Tonto.
Tonto. Okay. All right. No problem. The next one, and I need some silver bullets, by the way. The next one is the Mortgage Muggle team. No, you don't like the Mortgage Muzzle?
No, that's
Muggles?
terrible. That's
the
terrible.
Ministry of Mortgage? No?
I kind of like that one.
Anyways, some of those were really, really well thought out. I don't know. If you want to have some fun.
Now, no, it is on right now. You are no longer Stevie Ray Babcock. You are now the Minister of Mortgage.
Dude, I did this introduction this weekend. I went to a chili fest with a realtor, and she sponsored the event, and it was nice enough to ask me to go with her. And her name is Elle Klein. Okay, she's a great person. Love Elle Klein. Almost as good of a realtor as you. Since I'm on your show, I'm gonna tell everybody that almost.
Anyways, not Alyssa.
Klein? No.
Okay, because I know a realtor up in your neck of the woods, Alyssa Klein, who's also a really good realtor.
I bet she's great. But Elle is really great.
Cool.
And, I'm sitting there at this event, and this lady says, and we just want to give a great big thank you to Elle Klein and Steve Babcock. And unfortunately, that is stuck. So she's calling me Steve Babcock, capital of Thailand.
You are now the Minister of Mortgage, Steve Babcock.
Do you remember when we first started the show and I had that Babcock Drive up there, and then you cut off half my screen and it just
said cock
cut off the BAB? For like 3 shows until somebody was like, just so you know, Steve.
Oh my God, I got to go back and find that. I got to get a screenshot of that.
Dude, you have a last name like mine. It just kind of never stops.
Yeah, it is what it is. Dude, okay, see, look, I'm still empty.
Well, I'm not.
My man is drinking Lone Star there. I'm keeping it local with Texas Beer Company. Bill Pickett Porter.
Excellent.
Bill Pickett Porter. It's a really good porter, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. We're good. We're good.
Okay,
cheers.
Good. Thank you.
Cheers. My man, let's start off like we always do. What is the overall trend of interest rates? Are they gently rising, gently sinking? Overall trend. We're not going to get burdened with them today.
What I like to do is to show you an 800 plus credit score average.
Yes.
And a 620, because that's really the
high and the low.
It's not an official threshold for getting a mortgage. It is an official threshold for getting certain mortgage types at most mortgage companies. So it's kind of an unofficial number. If you have under a 620, it's not that you can't get a loan, but you will almost definitely get a loan with a much higher interest rate. And so that's really where it's the range I like to stick with. So Google has been really good at this, giving updates on these loans. And what's funny is we say rates went up. Okay, well, for who? It's really important for who, because when I run these 800 credit score scenarios and then 620 credit score scenarios, each week each one is very different. And if the rates went up, usually it's for one or the other, but not both. So like right now, rates have gone up quite a bit. But if I go to the 620 score like I did last week, it was at an 8.4. Remember that?
Yep.
Well, right now it's at a 7.9. Okay. If I go to the 800 credit scores, well, that used to be at like 6.5. Well, now that's at 7. So if you have a higher credit score, you're getting punished much more than a lower credit score is this week. Okay. It doesn't mean every week is like that. Right, it's just really interesting, how it works. It's just not so cut and dry.
I was going to make a comment to folks about, this is why you don't ask a residential mortgage loan originator to give you a quote.
It was good.
But like at the same time, the knowledge that you just dropped, I don't think you've ever put it so succinctly. That was good knowledge, dude. Like you need to cut that clip out and put it on TikTok or something.
Yeah, I don't ever do that stuff. I should. I need a team. I'll tell you, another one that really blows my mind. That as a lender, it's like, duh, yeah, of course, right. But until you become a lender, it doesn't make the sense that it does, right? It has to be explained to you that if you shop by rate, you're almost guaranteed to get a higher payment than if you were to shop by payment, right? So. Let me give you a quick example here. I had somebody that came to me this weekend. They had a very great credit score. Okay, well, a conventional loan over here, right, usually has a slightly higher interest rate than an FHA loan. All right, so far FHA is the winner, right? Okay, in fact, we'll go lower. Lower is better, right? We're going to look for payment. Right. So FHA has a slightly lower payment, okay, in the interest rate, right? But hey, over 30 years, it's going to be a lot of money, right? Yes, it is. Okay. So obviously we're going to take the lower rate, FHA, right? I don't know, because there's mortgage insurance. That same person was paying $30 for this mortgage insurance, right? Actually it goes up, right? So $30 for this mortgage insurance, and then they were paying $130 for this mortgage insurance, right? So all of a sudden, the 20 or so dollars, I think it was like $38, something like that, they saved in rate was obliterated by this gigantic mortgage insurance cost. Okay, now here's the kicker. With their down payment, the mortgage insurance and the FHA would have lasted for 30 years. And the mortgage insurance for the conventional would have dropped off at about 11 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even more.
We're going to take the lower interest rate and get a much higher payment. See how that works? And if you don't know to talk to someone about the other little nuances, right, then it becomes like, what are you trying to pull, bro? What do you mean I'm taking the lower rate with the higher, whatever, man. And it's easy just to kind of shrug it off. You really have to find someone you trust. Yep. And damn it, that's hard to do when it's coming to a loan anybody. It's like going to the car dealership. Oh, I really trust my guy. Well, okay. Most people look at you saying that and they're like, oh, okay, Karen's crazy, trusting her car guy,
Right.
It sucks.
I get it, man. I don't know if you saw, I went live on YouTube and Facebook a little bit earlier today, talking through the numbers in Austin, and kind of what's happening. And it's interesting because I'm measuring rolling quarters. So basically the last 90 days and then measuring that against the 90 days prior to that. And every week or two when I do it, the prices are coming down. House prices are coming down, right?
Sure.
But
did they slow?
What's that?
Did they slow?
Still
coming down. Okay, sorry.
Still coming down.
I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry.
No.
I'll let you talk.
But the interesting thing is if you look year over year, they're still higher than we were in February of last year.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, fine.
That's an interesting. Like it's a note, and I make the denotation because of for the last 9 months we've been getting abused by headlines, housing bubble, prices are just plummeting, and all this other crap, and it hasn't affected anything.
So there's what What?
It hadn't affected anything. The prices are right where they were a year ago. So it hasn't gone up. It hadn't escalated.
Tell that to the person that bought a year ago, right? Or that bought 6 or 9 months ago, kind of thing. But I hear you. I hear you.
But again, if they're even with the board, what do they care?
So not so much in the short term.
In Austin,
with these things, I suppose, but with these things, you really worry about the long-term effects, right? When you raise rates, it doesn't really come to fruition until some loans start getting paid off, and then they need to reborrow at a new interest rate, and all of a sudden now, like down the road, 2 years down the road, you're like, wow, raising rates 2 years ago was a really big deal because now it's really hurting everybody, right? And so one of the things that is really starting to be an issue are car loans.
Yeah.
The car dealership, there was this one guy who goes by the car dealership guy on Twitter. I know, but
original.
He's been doing this for years, and he's how a lot of people get their news from the car dealership industry. And recently, he's basically said that there's a giant thing going on that he's noticed that nobody's really noticing because it's like an inside baseball kind of thing, right? He says 8 or 9 out of the 10 lenders that they go to for the car loans have started waiving the open auto stipulation. Okay, so I read that and was like, I still don't know what that means. That's not a mortgage term, at least not as far as I know. And if it is, sorry, I guess I'm not that smart, right?
Yep.
What is an open auto stipulation? Okay, when open auto stipulation, apparently when you're getting if I go to a car dealership and they run my information for a new car loan, an open auto stipulation would show that I have another auto loan.
Oh.
They are waiving the open auto stipulation, meaning, and it's really made clear on another tweet that he writes, but meaning basically that the banks are taking advantage of other banks. Hey, as long as it's not with us, if you
can have an open loan
that you bought on a car that's underwater now, that you owe more than it's worth, like way more than it's worth, right? Some cars have come down 30% this quarter, right? Then go ahead and take out another mortgage or another loan. I mean, okay, so now we're going to take out another loan on a new car, right, at a much better price. What are you going to do with the other car? You're going to keep taking no way. So they're expecting them to basically hurt the other banks. Well, he was like, that was 1 or 2 banks. Now it's up to 9 in retaliation. They're retaliating against these other banks. So, well, you're going to do it to me. I'm going to do it to you. Well, that's like 1.4 trillion, something like that in loans that are due.
Yikes.
It could be a big deal, like a really big deal.
Well, and it's essentially what got us into the big bubble in 07, 08.
Right. Yeah. Which will make all finances worse in the long run.
Yes. I mean, but hey, I guess if you got to sell cars, I mean, make so much more than you, I guess. Is that the point? You're
going to still sell them. The question is who's going to be footing the bill when those notes aren't paid.
Yeah.
Who knows, Who knows? That's going to be a tough one.
Yep. It is. I think I mentioned this last week too, from the real estate perspective. And again, everything that I'm doing is anecdotal for the most part. Like when I pull numbers, that's legit hard data, but mostly anecdotal. We are really seeing on my end of things. We are really seeing. That threw me off. Sorry, Steve. Where'd you go? On my end of things, we're really seeing buyers react strongly to interest rate fluctuations.
I'm here. Sorry, I had a child banging on the door.
That's happy. Anyway, I was just saying that we're really seeing buyers react to interest rate fluctuations. I don't think it was quite like this in November, December, January. January, they started to come, but when those rates went back up, man, it was like all rats off the ship. It was really interesting.
It's unreal to me. I've been in this industry since 2012, 2013, roughly around there. So I haven't seen rates this high before.
Yeah.
Highest I'd really seen them was 5.5%, maybe 6%, and that was for low income, not low income, but low credit score.
Low credit, low qualification,
that kind of thing. But that was, maybe a down payment assistance program or something, but not like this. And the scary part is that while the Fed is raising rates, the mortgage industry started to raise rates and then kind of tapered off. And now all of a sudden they're getting nervous, and you can tell they're thinking, okay, well, is the Fed going to stop? Because they thought the Fed was going to stop raising rates, which is why they were like, well, we're going to get ahead of this. But if the Fed decides they're going to keep raising rates, and the mortgage industry has come down a little bit, they may slingshot back up to catch up with the Fed. We could see 10.5% rates, in the next 6 months. It would be very scary. A lot of economists are saying it'll come down eventually, but that depends on the Fed pivot.
Yeah. Well, but look, last year was it August or September? You said you fully expected double digits.
I did. And then as the Fed keeps raising, all of a sudden, our industry said, we're not going to play this game.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm running into is that, and I said by December, didn't I? So I was wrong. You
did. You were wrong on timing. You were wrong on timing.
Yeah. You know what? Broken clock's always right twice. Oh gosh, I forgot what I was going to say though. Shoot, I was just talking about it too.
It wasn't very important.
Yeah, it wasn't. I know it wasn't. Not at all.
The funny. Not funny. Haha. Go ahead if you remember.
Lennar has a block of loans that I just got my
499.
499. So my person got a 565 FHA. They're doing 499 for what? High credit scores?
Anybody. Well, I say anybody. I'm sure it's not anybody. But I know
it's not anybody. I'll tell everyone watching. It's not everybody. The lender's going to correct that.
I just saw an email come across this weekend from Lennar. Yep, 499.
Yeah. So that changes. So if I'm at a 7%, you're going to take me. You could like me like your husband, and you're not going to use me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. And so if you're buying a definitely not me. Yeah, no kidding, right? But if you're buying an existing home, traditional lender is awesome. Unsavory character. It's traditional lender is great, but when you're buying a new home right now, it's really hard to compete with those new build lenders. It really is.
It is. It always has been.
Yeah, I had one person that was applying by herself because she didn't want to apply with her boyfriend because together they'd make too much money, and she wanted to take advantage of these home buyer, first time home buyer kind of stuff, free money, down payment assistance, and eventually I sent her to a new build. It was like, I'm sorry, but use your husband or your boyfriend income right now. You're over the down payment assistance, but you're getting 6% from Lennar or whatever it is that they're giving away. That's better than the down payment assistance program. So, it's hard to fight with those builders right now.
I'm gonna kind of piggyback on that a little bit, and not necessarily with builders, but even with and I've done it on a couple of my houses. Offering seller concession for interest rate buy downs or whatever. And you've talked about it on here before. And I ran into a situation this past week where if you're buying a house and you've got a realtor telling you that their lender does a special deal just for her, where they're going to give you a 3-2-1 buy down or a 2-1 buy down. Guys, that program is available from every lender all over the face of this country. Right. Especially right now, that it's not a special deal. Steve's talked about it before. It comes from seller concession. They're going to put money in escrow, and that is going to pay the excess interest rate that you think you're getting bought down. But here's the thing, Steve, question. If you're getting a 3-2-1 buy down to the tune of 3% of your loan, can you get any additional seller concessions for closing costs?
If you're doing a 3-2-1 buy down?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I haven't actually done one of those yet.
No, it is not buying points. Points is a permanent reduction in your interest rate.
It's an escrow account infusion, from what I understand. But the question is, would it be considered seller concessions? I believe that it would be considered.
I'm pretty sure it does. Because I talked to that lender and I called him on it. I was like, well, if we need any other kind of concessions, are you still going to give that buy down? And the lender goes, no, we can't do that. I was like, well, you better make that prevalent on any of your advertising material.
Yeah, no, there's only so much money the seller can give up. And so, skinning a pig in a different way, right? It's just still the same thing. But No, I'll tell you, I got one in my email yesterday or on Friday, and I got really excited until I started reading between the lines. I was like, this is stupid, right? It's this great new program that, I shouldn't be, it's not, I'm not trying to badmouth CMG. It's a great company. And they've gone out of their way to really do this program, but it's
trying to do stuff. Yeah.
For sellers to advertise a lower rate because they're the ones paying for it through a buy down. Now, the one good thing about it is it's a lock and shop kind of rate. So it's a lock and list is what they call it. So the sellers could lock at today's rates minus whatever they're willing to pay in concessions. So you want to give us an extra 2 or 3%. We'll use that for the rate. Well, now you're limiting the concessions, right? Later on, whatever.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And whatever. It's a good gimmick to,
well,
oh my gosh, look at the rate I get with this, right?
What it is, think about it though, because you just said Lennar's offering $499. That's exactly what it is. It's the exact same thing available to the consumer, except for the builder.
But I got beat out the other day with my clients being offered 6% in concessions and a 5.65% interest rate on their FHA loan. I couldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I flat out told them I can't do it. That's way better. Just do it. I mean, you guys are in great hands. If you need anything, let me know.
With an FHA though, for 6%, they've got to put down 5%, right? Or is it 10 to get a 6%
That's all
concession?
Conventional stuff.
Oh, you can get 6 on FHA. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Smart man, though. Most lenders don't know any of that stuff. So you're way ahead of the pack.
I keep good company.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah. And the other one I want all realtors to know about, which doesn't help any lender in any way, but is that, any government loan is assumable. So if you have somebody that you're trying to list their home and they have an FHA loan at 3%, which a lot of people do, then, they can sell that 3%, whatever is remaining on the loan, to the next buyer. Next buyer gets a second mortgage, makes up the difference at the higher rates of today. But, hey, they get that lower rate for whatever the other one owes.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, you might be able to pull a lower rate for half or
we're
2/3 of the loan.
$400 to $600 savings for the average buyer.
And that applies. You said any government. So I know VA, and you mentioned before that VA is actually assumable by other people as long as they don't need their
a VA loan can be assumed by a non-VA veteran. However, the existing seller that is the veteran loses their eligibility that was originally used for that loan until the new borrower pays off the mortgage.
Right? Yeah.
Now, if the new borrower doesn't pay off the mortgage and they get foreclosed upon, that eligibility of the seller, the VA seller, that's gone forever.
Oh Lord, that's not good.
Is a risk. Now today there's bonus eligibility. There's a lot more eligibility than the average VA veteran is aware of today. In fact, especially the Vietnam era vets have no idea in general that I've noticed how much extra they have. They've been granted over the years without their knowledge.
Right.
A lot of it's really confusing stuff, right? To be honest with you, most lenders actually don't really do VA very well. It's a very different beast.
It is. But so VA, USDA, FHA, all of that stuff is assumable.
All of them are assumable. Those are government loans. Yes. Thank you for going through them, by the way, for everybody. But conventional is not assumable.
Right.
So for all those people that were offering only taking conventional loans on this sale for this house, right? Because we're going to be a prick about it and make sure that, you have extra qualified financing over the last couple of years.
Right.
That was dumb. There were
now. Yep.
That was really dumb, and especially if you excluded veterans, because there is no loan that's better than a VA loan today.
That's right.
I mean, for instance, if and I love this is my favorite ever. Let's say you do an appraisal, and the appraisal comes back with a value that you don't like. That's not, hey man, that's not what I'm paying for this house. It's worth way more, etc. On a conventional mortgage, the appraiser doesn't have to go back out if they don't want to. Sorry, kid. That's what the home appraiser is for. If you give me some evidence if you want, maybe I'll look at it. You don't have to.
And I'll tell you this, appraisers got to be real pricks during the last 3 years.
They got really busy too, but prick or not.
That's why. That's why.
Time, right? Yeah. And so with a VA loan, it triggers something called Operation Tidewater when that happens. Whether the appraiser wants to or not, they have to go back out within 3 days.
And try to find information.
It's within 3 or 7 days, something like that. And they have to redo and to try to do everything they can to hit the value for the vet.
Yep.
There's nothing else out there like that.
No.
I mean, anywhere. The HVCC, the Home Valuation Code of Conduct, in layman's terms, says you and I cannot influence the value with an appraiser. We can't call him and be like, yo, Frank, what's going on here, man? Like it used to happen back in the day, right?
And it did.
Before I got my license. I wasn't working back then. But when you get a VA, Operation Tidewater, you're told, get evidence from the lender, get evidence from the realtor, have them try and influence the value.
Yeah.
They use the verbiage in the
influence the value. Yeah.
A couple years, but it's just unreal to me. A VA loan is about the best there is. And then there's other things. Well, the seller has to pay for stuff. I don't want my seller to pay for things for the veteran. Yeah, they have to pay for a couple items, but
that are like a couple of $100.
But that's the thing. It doesn't say how much you have to pay for the items.
Right.
So you can shift the cost to so let's just change it to $1. Your seller's going to have to pay me $3. I'm really sorry. And then the borrower pays more in other areas for that, if that does. So the seller really doesn't, it's not a big deal. It's just
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
If you're working with the lender knows what they're doing, it's not a big deal. In fact, you want to take a vet. The other thing is vets oftentimes are recession proof. They get government money. Right. So they're about the best borrowers there are, honestly. Vets are, and they earned it. So
yeah, they should be. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
no, you're good. Well, let's wrap it up on that. I mean, guys, this is what we do on Mondays. We drink beer, we talk. You get to ask questions. Aaron's the only one asking questions today. If you're on this and you're seeing this after the fact, if you got questions, put them in the comments. We'll see them. I get notified of these things. More than happy to answer stuff.
Aaron Lulling was that CPA, right?
Yep. I
tried looking up Aaron Lulling, and I got like a brewery. Wasn't a CPA.
It's Llewellyn. First.
Oh, Llewellyn. Whatever.
We'll talk offline.
Yeah, all right.
All right, guys. So anyway, this is what we do on Mondays. And if you've got questions, ask us. More than happy to answer your questions. And if you are going to buy a house, call us, because that's what we do, and we're better than everybody else. Yeah,
not wrong.
I love. Look. I'm going to say this: we have some realtors that we know that are very near and dear to our hearts. I'm just a little different. There you go. Steve's a little different too.
This guy. Yeah.
We'll see y'all next Monday.